We are started. Why don't we talk about, why don't we talk about the response letter to the Riley County Health Department?
Okay. So commissioners, last week, John gave you or presented you some information with regards to the childcare licensing. And just as a review, that is something that we decided because of monetary reasons that in 2015, it fiscally wasn't possible for us. So we turned it back to the state of Kansas. The state of Kansas then is contracting, if you will, with Riley County to provide that service for daycare inspections and the child care licensing piece of that. So they turned that over to Riley County. Riley County has now presented a letter to you dated July 21st requesting the gap funding, if you will. They only received $23,800, which is $20,000 in base funding and $3,800 for an umbrella allocation, which that's a formula that the state uses. But they're telling us it's costing them just over $62,000. So they're requesting for this year alone, $38,432. Again, that's fiscally not something that I think that we can do for the state. This is a state mandated license that childcare centers are required to have. So we drafted a short response letter advising that it's not possible and that we encourage you to continue to work with KDHE to fund this. And then also we'll communicate with our legislators about this as well and suggest that they do that, because again, this is a state service. So it doesn't mean that our child care centers are not going to be inspected or licensed. The state still has that responsibility. So
I think it'd be helpful to send the correspondence early and then talk to, he'll be senator now, but Scott Hill and the representative-elect and kind of say, hey, when you get down there, so this doesn't only involve Dickinson County, this involves Geary County and Clay and Riley County. And, they need to visit with some of those elected officials from those counties. Also, just to kind of, and if that's happening with Riley, I'm sure that's happening with some other counties that were a larger county, maybe taking care of
yes,
half a dozen others. Especially when you start getting out in western Kansas.
But if you approve the letter today, sign it, then I'll get it in the mail as soon as possible back to Riley County. And I can reach out to Diane Creek, she's the health director there, and let her know the decision and a letter is coming and this is our plan move forward. So that way she's aware, because they're also, well, my assumption is they were going to ask this for 2026 too. It's not included in this letter, but let her know that that's a no-go. So it's being published. It'll be published today, actually, I believe. And there's no funding in it for this service. So.
And we talk about sometimes unfunded mandates that come our way. And so Riley County in this instance is the one that's feeling the pinch, but then it involves us to a certain degree. I agree with the content of the letter you're sending, by the way. I mean,
I do as well. We'll have it on the agenda too, just to have an official vote on it. I couldn't agree more. It's an unfunded mandate. And I think we need to try to push back and get the state to do what they're. We'll leave it at that. See if we can.
See if we can. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else on that, Ron?
Oh, I'm with you guys there.
Okay. Why don't we look at the health insurance broker? I think we had 3 that came in, and so maybe some decisions we can start making off that.
Exactly. So it's just a very quick summary of what we saw from the 3 presentations. Wanted to make sure that you were aware of those. If we're strictly looking at dollars, which I know has been a topic of discussion throughout the entire budget process, Bukady is offering at $30 per employee per month. And that's compared to $43 and $39. So Katie's been our provider for the past 2 years. And the other thing to note is that $30 per month also includes our employee navigator, the compliance report, anything with that. So whereas on the Gallagher, that's an additional fee, $8,500. And I believe USI that was the 39 would include that, but I don't.
You didn't really specify what kind of
Okay.
system we have.
Okay. So there could be additional costs on that. So, all three of them, I think, would represent the county well. But for this time right now, I think we're a little late in the game because they need to go out to negotiation on our behalf for the 2026. I think it makes sense for us to stay with Katie for this year, or for the upcoming year, 2026. So that I think would be the best for the county. That would be my recommendation, that we would do that. So.
Well, and then obviously we're going to be with Blue Cross. I don't assume any services, I don't know how to say that right, any medical services, we're not going to take anything away. In other words, their plan's going to be the same. So
We think
we think,
they're going to go out for negotiation and see. So there could be some changes in there, but I don't know as we're anticipating any, but yes, yeah.
I'm talking about cost, but just actual, services provided.
Right. That shouldn't change, but
And, when the presenters would give their part of their examples and say, we worked with the county and we saved them money and this is what we did to streamline it and be helpful and so on.
mhm,
And really, that's what Katie did for us a couple of years ago.
right.
So not only more than just the story, we actually experienced that savings from them.
Mhm,
So they are very aggressive and seem to be very good at what they do.
mhm.
And they're a Kansas company too.
They are, yes. Now, I guess the next question would be, if you're comfortable sticking with Katie for this year, next year, do you want us to do this again and consider a different broker? Or do you want us to continue on?
What I'd like us to do is explore self-insurance and if that's a path and if it would save us money. That's what I would like us to do and really explore that idea of whether that's feasible or not. So I do think if it's feasible, I do think it ended up saving us money.
Mhm.
But we also can't get in financial
Right.
disarray to do it either. So
Right.
it's a touchy tightrope.
It absolutely is. And you hear horror stories and you hear good things, I think it depends on who's managing the plan, quite honestly.
That's my opinion. I don't know if it's worth looking into.
I think it's more than who's managing the plan. It's statistically, if you happen to have your first 1 or 2 or 3 years where nobody has any serious medical issues, nobody has heart attacks or a surgery that goes on and on, which maybe isn't likely, but occasionally that happens. And we did have the situation with the city of Abilene years ago that we tried to partially insure.
Mhm.
And the next thing you know, we're feeding more money into it because the claims were exceeded what we wanted. And so we absorbed it instead of the insurance company. So I'm cautious or not as optimistic maybe, Kenny, as you are on that. But the other point I wanted to make, going back to Katie, would they do a 2-year contract if we said, hey, we'll lock you in for 2 years?
Yes, we can certainly ask that.
Or say not to.
Remember what
would
they
not-
had in their contract.
Or just say we would not exceed
Right.
this amount in year 2.
Mhm.
And then they'd know after year 2, we're going to go out for bid again, possibly, or have the option.
And all of them are versed in self-insurance too, but I think we can let them know that this is coming. Because I don't foresee that going to self-funding in 2027 is going to be a possibility because we're going to have the reserves that we need for that. And I don't know what the reserve dollar amount is going to look like. You know, I've heard a number of different numbers or carryover or reserves in that for that. So,
And Kenny, I want to back up a little bit. So that was my historical experience, but then again, that's 2 decades ago almost. And so things maybe have changed, and maybe there's better plans, and there's options out there. And like you say, having to build the reserves. So, I mean, I don't think it ever hurts to explore those possibilities.
No, and that's
Because
all.
maybe the numbers statistically, if it proves out, then then that makes a difference.
That's all I'm getting at. I just want to make sure we're exploring. And I know it was something on our finance director's mind, assistant administrator, something he wanted. I assume HR is interested in it too. So I just didn't want to, make sure we explore it and if there's an option. Not saying that's a decision I want to make by any means.
right.
And I agree, we're going to have to plan it. I don't think it's going to happen next year. I think our finance director would agree.
Yes.
And administrator would agree. So
Yeah, I think it's something that if we start the conversation, start to do some of the, just diving in and look at the review and see what it takes to get started, it's something you'd want to be able to plan with a budget cycle. And so since we're past this one, you'd want to be considering what that reserve would look like and how you'd be able to put into the budget at the same time. So I think if possible, it's just, obviously there's a lot of information you have to gather beforehand to make sure it's a safe consideration. I know the city is still partially self-insured on their health insurance. And so I do think it's leveled out over the years, but I know what Lynn's talking about. If in those first 2 or 3 years, it really can pave the way for whether you're going to be successful or not. And some of that is almost based on luck. You can't just foresee all of the claims that are going to come in those first couple of years. So it can be, there's a bit of a risk involved, but I think there's some potential if you look at all the information and consider it, that it could possibly work or may not. But maybe we can bring that information to you guys prior to next year's budget or into the future at least.
So
You hope for the best, but you have to recognize that the worst case scenario possibilities out there also.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that gives us an idea that we need to start setting money aside. We'll just have to kind of work through that. But the good news, I think, is we have a couple very good firms that can guide us through this and give us very good recommendations. All of them have good references, obviously, but that helps tremendously too.
You know, the risk management part's important.
Correct.
Very much so.
Ron, are you?
Yeah, the only thing I have to say, well, one is I'd like to agree with Kenny on the trying to be a little bit self-insured there, but trying to do your stuff locally if at all possible, but there is some cost variances as we see on the sheet here that we're working.
Right.
But the other thing that I'd like to bring up, I think, one is, Marcia, you were looking for some information for reports, right, from any of these companies that you would need for reporting on for human resources or anything?
Well, the compliance part of it and then the ACA reporting is important. And they all provide that
Okay.
in what they offer.
And the other thing I had problem with, they look at numbers and they interpret what kind of coverage you're getting. But I guarantee you, it is so complex that there's coverages you're not getting and you think you're getting.
Right.
And that happened in the last go around.
Mhm.
People thought they were going to be covering this and that, and it didn't happen.
Mhm.
And there are new words, excuse me, I got a little cold. New words are using or have used for quite some time as medically necessary and all kinds of little things like that to get people out of having been covered. And that trickery stuff, I just come unglued when I read that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, I'm not an expert in reading insurance policies. You just hope you're covered for most of the things that happen.
Mhm.
That's my thing. I think it kind of got missed last time.
Mhm.
Is the insurance wasn't
Right.
good coverage.
And I think that is a pro to becoming self-funded, because then you have more of a possibility of setting these services that we do want covered. This is the programs that we're looking at and have some flexibility, whereas some of these other plans, not so much. At least that's what I'm hearing.
You're going in with the group. You're
Yes.
going in with a group.
Yes.
So you're going to go off the group policy, not
Right.
split. So I'm just going to build on that. That's some of the advantages of self-insurance. I'm not negligent though to the financial risk
Mhm.
posed to the county. So, you know, and it's going to be a plan. I mean, it's going to be a couple year
Yes.
deal to get put together, I think. But The other part of this, and I just wanted to say, we got 3 people bidding on it. And I think that's really healthy in terms of putting a bid out and doing our due diligence to make sure we're bidding things correctly and awarding the bid.
And we're being fiscally responsible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a better way of saying what I was trying to say.
You're welcome. Well, and then we'll plan on doing the same thing just on the other side with the property and liability insurance too. So we'll start that process here after the first of the year and explore that too. So.
But to your point, I don't know if Ron, you're open to it. It sounds like we're gonna go through 2027. It might be worth asking the question. I don't know if that's a thing, but
I was trying to remember what was in their contract
definitely worth asking.
with Katie, but yeah, we'll definitely,
Lock it in maybe, or
It's year to year.
that's what I'm thinking is they did.
It hurts to ask though. I mean, do they want to go through another presentation, another challenge, or I mean, just never,
Mhm,
I mean, they'll give us a up or down on it.
mhm. Well, I'm sure they would be more than happy to do that, honestly. So, and having them come in and, present to the county commission annually is not a bad thing either, as to what's been going on, so.
probably not. I think what Lynn's saying is we don't need
Yeah.
to be
the
sold
whole-
again,
Exactly.
More or less, we just need to kind of know what's going on.
Exactly.
But it might help us with next year's budget, just having that factored in already.
Mhm.
And maybe instead of locking it in, they may say, okay, not to exceed
Mhm.
a certain percentage or something that was
Right.
reasonable.
Right.
Or maybe they'd rather do 3 years.
Let's see what they want to do, and then we'll start them on giving us information about self-funding too, so. We have a little time. Do you want me to see if Lisa can come up earlier?
Yeah, you would. We're having Lisa up today on that.
You know what?
Okay.
Do you want to review, since Marcia's in here, and I know she'll be here for the regular meeting, any of the updates to the employee handbook? Do you have questions on any of those?
Why don't we? Do you have any questions in there?
Just, I mean, I guess there's some of the language was struck out and some changed on a few things. So we might not saying that right now. But it's definitely-
So the top copy has the new language in it, and then stapled to the back of it is the changes. So for instance, in the first one, 207 salary administration, we removed, we just took out a sentence in the second paragraph on pay practices of other counties. I mean, this is, and change the language on that. I mean, we use an organized, systematic method for classifying jobs and administering the wages. And this includes that employment journey that we started with when we signed the contract with TAG, and that's a job analysis, evaluation, and salary structure, and then the classification. And then down under the personnel policies and procedures, we looked at the new hire and removed that because we wanted to utilize a grow, build, buy up, which is we'll look at our current staff, and if there's any room for them to grow into a position, we'll look at that first. And if not, then obviously we'll look at new hires or hiring somebody from outside. But there's a lot to be said from hiring within for positions because they know the structure, they know the job possibly or parts of the job. So we've kind of changed that language there. And then in the back, we clarified promotions, lateral transfers, demotions, reemployment, kind of clean that up as well, because
it's in the comp policy.
it's in the comp policy. Yes, thank you. That's why.
Yeah.
Maybe I just let Marge has lost her voice,
Yeah.
so. So we just needed to clean that up and make sure it mirrors what our comprehensive policy, compensation policy states.
So back on the one for salary administration, it's striking out the 4 factors to be considered for a grade to a position. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, because it's matching what our compensation policy that was adopted last year says, cleaning, so the two match,
Okay.
cleaning up the language.
But I mean, some of those factors still would be a consideration, I guess.
The one I'll point out here is the higher step than what is provided to the employee. So in other words, you'd be grading them higher than where they're at. Is that how I'm reading that? In order to pay an employee at a higher step than provided.
Which one are you?
In the
In the
We're
highlight.
taking that out.
Would that
Okay.
be removed?
Where it's yellow, it's taken out?
Because no, that wouldn't make,
And I just see keep in policy or remove. That's kind of where I was.
Yeah. no, we're taking that out.
So I guess I'll kind of ask the question, then the pay scale, and we've talked about this a little bit, but it's going to go to the pay ranges are going to go to the pay scale and the pay plan. So the administration oversees that. And then we vote as an entire pay plan, entire plan put together, correct? And that's what we would end up approving. So the individuals are not going to be approved by the commission. That's what I'm trying to get at.
And that's been,
They've been normal.
yes,
It's, and forgive me,
no, you've never gone through this, so yeah.
which makes sense. I mean, you're the administrator. That's your job.
So the administrator is really the only one we evaluate.
Right.
And then the administrator
Yeah.
evaluates the other.
How are you?
department head.
You're healthy.
Yes.
You have any problems?
No,
Would you mind signing in for me?
Good. Let's just get these cards.
There was one I wanted to ask about. Post resignation. Is this the rehire one?
Post resignation, so what did we do? So,
In other words, when they leave and come back. Is that a termination one?
well, it says resignation / termination.
so actually, we removed 6 copies. We removed when appropriate, I mean, took some of the language out that's not necessary or exit, like the exit interview. We are just noting that it is important. We know it doesn't always happen. We make that request, Marcia sends a letter or contacts them and asks them to fill out an exit interview form. And some do and some don't.
The one, no, I'm talking about the rehires when they resign, right here, rehire county employees. So if someone resigns from let's say an assistant director position or even a director position, and then we fill that within, let's say 8 months, we fill that position, and then they come back. And I know they get a year to come back at the same salary. Would they come back at that director salary or would they come back in as an employee?
And come back to whatever position they
They would
were
take.
hired at.
That's all I wanted to make sure, because you can't be an employee making the same as your.
And one example we
Yeah.
had a few years ago where someone moved and went to another county and then, and so it worked out for them to come back to the county.
Right.
So.
Right. And that's the same with if someone transferred from one department to another, if their department they're currently in is at a higher grade level and higher pay, they know if they move to a position that's a lower grade, lower pay, that their pay is going to be decreased.
That's all I wanted
They
to,
made a conscious choice to make that change.
we talked about that, but I didn't get into I guess that was my fear. If we're going to replace them and then they want to come back at that pay, I'm like, how's that? We can't fire the new person so they can come back.
All lined out, so it's pretty black and white of this is the process.
Okay.
Of what we do. And so we can be consistent with everybody.
Perfect.
So.
You answered my question. Thank you.
I had a question on the termination thing, and don't get me wrong, I hope I don't come out wrong here, but we have recovery court and we're trying to rehabilitate people. It's been kind of a mess. And then we have an employee that's been discharged. Do we do anything to help them?
Help them in what regard?
Not
Find
just,
another job?
no,
or-
let's say they had a bad day and they did something totally.
Oh,
Did they get I know you guys had kept a few people here and there's been some gone, but I don't see the whole picture.
Mhm.
But do you do what you can to protect them and save them? And you know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yes.
I don't
We
come up
give
with,
advice on Cobra and things like that, but
Mhm.
you don't just take them out, throw them out the door, do
No, no,
you?
no, no, no.
Yeah.
Give 'em a
There are
chance.
steps. So our process is a verbal and then a written, and then they could go on to an employee improvement plan as well.
You have corrective action.
Yes, we have corrective action. Yes, yes.
but there probably are some that
Yeah,
when they're terminated, that's it.
Well, and we don't
They're out the
really have a lot of people that we discharge. People are resigning their position
yeah.
and moving on.
Yeah.
to something else.
I just curious.
I
Thank you.
guess we do have that corrective action process, and I work with the managers, the department heads on that.
And then just to add to that, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're terminated on bad standing, we're not gonna try to rehire you.
Correct. Correct.
I think that's a good policy.
Yes. Yeah. Did you see any others in here that you had questions on, or do you want to review them further? I mean, most of the rest of that is just removing some language that's no longer applicable.
No, full-time hours a little bit, but
Right.
it makes sense to me.
Mhm. If you are called for jury duty, you get a check from district court for $10 or $20 an hour. Instead of turning it back in, that goes to the employee.
We're gonna want to keep it now.
But they're paid. The employees,
We always get it back.
paid while they're gone.
Yes, yes.
In some businesses, if you take off a day for jury duty.
That's one of our benefits is you get paid while you're on jury duty.
Plus your hourly.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm just making sure I understand, because we're the ones that give back or have the checks come back to us for that.
Yes, yeah.
I checked, you don't have to pay it. You're just
You know,
required.
After
to
you
let
have to
them
know,
off.
yeah, we're required to let them. But
I'll
that's,
be honest, we do not.
you don't, okay.
I know a lot don't.
Mhm.
Few places do.
Few places do,
Yeah, I don't know very many that really.
that do.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's more of an exception than it is a norm. My opinion, but I don't know. if you
And
guys
I don't
feel
know
that
if
way,
we
but
had a lot that have been on jury duty.
We haven't, yeah.
Yeah, since I've been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just been the
There's a lot of
practice.
Jury trials.
that-
It's random.
There is a lot of.
People, yeah, I'm a jury duty.
That's just been the practice every place I've worked. It's always been that way, so. Yeah.
I know a couple that were on jury duty, so I could.
I don't need to upset the apple cart.
Actually, this isn't for us to consider, but I had someone mention to me that they had got called in for jury duty and they're in their 80s. And they just said, it is a difficult task for people of that age. And they were just wondering, is that something that should be changed? The only thing is, I know when I got in for a federal deal and they wanted to know if you're past age 70 is one of the questions on there. If it is, is age a factor that would be a deterrent from you serving or something like that? So, but I don't know if the local courts do that, but it's probably more of a Topeka legislative
Yes,
guidelines, but
because I think that would still be above what the eighth judicial judge would do, but I can certainly ask. But it's also off of your driver's license. That's how the jury pool is picked, so.
they want you to take their driver's license away, that's for sure.
Well, we're gonna vote on this policy update anyway, right?
That's on the agenda.
Yes. Okay. Don't have anything else? I think we'll move on. You want to do the workforce one real quick? Or I'm sorry, yeah, that's an update session.
Yes.
With Deb, I'm sorry, Deb. I don't know why I didn't put it together.
Good morning. First of all, I apologize. I was not able to make it in person, or I couldn't figure out that, and maybe it was my brain. I had been in Portugal for a week in a mission trip and came back with COVID. Not sure if that's why I wasn't able to make it work, but I apologize. I'm so glad to be here today. Oh, I gave you two. You guys one as well. So thank you, and Janelle, for helping me out.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
I appreciate it. So I'm Deb Scheibler. I'm the executive director for Kansas Workforce One. We are the local workforce development board that oversees now 79 counties in Kansas. I used to say 62 counties in western Kansas, and January 1, we took over the 17 counties surrounding Junction City, Manhattan, Riley, you get ambulance. So we are now 79 counties. So we provide workforce services throughout these counties. You'll hopefully recognize us as Kansas Works. We have Kansas Work Centers quite a ways. Dickinson County is in a great position, and actually this merger has really probably helped Dickinson County a lot because it was on the furthest east of Workforce One's original 62 counties. And so but obviously people from here travel to Junction City, not as much from Salina. It's an interesting commute pattern. Some do and some go the other way. So now with us overseeing both centers, I think services in Dickinson County will actually improve. So I'm excited about that. So I've provided you, I think you probably have the agreement to look at, but I provided you just some information to make sure that you know who we are and what we do. The first thing I'm super proud of is the map that you'll see. I think it was on the left-hand side. That map, our board, the original Workforce One board of the 62 counties has always been adamant that we serve at least one job seeker, one business in all of our counties. And so this year when we put this together, we were actually able to show that we provide at least one service in every single county in the state. And that's because we run a lot of grants that are virtual and we're actually able to virtually serve people throughout. But we're, of course, dedicating our main resources on the counties that we're 100% responsible for. So you'll see that we are, it's really kind of hard to see on this map, but we cover everything out here all the way through until the 3 counties on the furthest eastern Kansas City metropolitan area, then the 6 counties around Wichita, and then the 17 counties in southeast Kansas. The other thing that I provided for you, and I hope you'll take time to look at, is our newsletter. We're working on, we just closed out PY24, so we're working on that here newsletter now. But that kind of tells you just some stories. We have a board of about 43 people, and then we have a chief elected official board too. And we have people on the board that either really like stories or they really like numbers. So we try to do a little bit of both. The other thing that's probably one of the most impactful things that I've provided is the impact report itself. There's a very short blurb on our merger. The exciting thing about the merger is that when we did that, we were able to serve a significant amount of people where we were able to triple the staff that we'll have out in the field working directly with customers. So that's been a very positive thing for us and the reason why the 2 boards decided to merge together. But you'll also see, like on the back, what we're particularly proud of, the things that we focus on, and that's working with companies that have layoffs to hopefully divert them, but then also serve customers that may be losing their job to the layoff. We do a lot of work too with employers providing the training. So we're helping them, fill those positions and help them with funds to train people. You guys were just talking about HR and all that kind of thing. We're all employers too. So you guys, I'm sure, are running into the same thing that everybody is in the state of Kansas, and that's that we have positions that we're having a difficult time filling. So we can come in and help somebody hire somebody that, maybe doesn't have all the skills and experience that they need. And as a kind of a encouragement or incentive to hire them, we'll actually pay for the employer to train them on the job. And that's always good for our job seekers too, because they're making a wage at the same time. We do focus a lot also on working with justice involved, people with disabilities. making sure that they have the opportunities to work well. And another big focus, and you guys probably remember, is our retain program. That's where we have somebody that due to an illness or an injury, we help them get back to work or with accommodations. And we did actually work with one of your fire chiefs and here in Dickinson County to help him get back to work a little quicker than he might have before. So those are some of the awesome things that we can do. Another huge focus is our youth. That's something that we really all need to be focusing on, is how do we keep our youth in the state when they graduate? If they go off in college, are they coming back or staying in Kansas? So that's a huge focus of ours as well. We do some work-based learning events and services when we go into the high schools and provide some additional help to the schools to make sure that our youth are aware of the occupations that are in our communities. A lot of kids don't know. Kansas is the 48th, in my opinion, worst state at exporting our kids. There's only 2 other states that export more kids out of the state when they graduate high school than the state of Kansas. So we've got to improve that. That's a huge issue for our board and a huge thing that we all need to be focusing on in order to meet the needs of those employers that we have as well. So that we could talk about that all day long and all the things that we're doing for that. We've also provided information for you just on flyers. You know, anytime I get to talk to county commissions like you, I want to make sure that you all know you have the heartbeat of the community, what's happening, that you're aware of the services that we provide so you can refer people to us. If you're aware of businesses that are struggling to fill positions, please make them aware of who you are, and we're here to help. Please also be aware of a company that's laying off, even if it's one, or hopefully not much more than that. We'll come in and help with that as well. So it's a great opportunity. I always look at it as a great opportunity to make sure that you're aware of the services that we provide as well. So any questions on any of that?
Well, I used to serve on that board.
Oh, did you? Oh, you did? Yeah.
Years. I was on
You're
the
welcome to
executive
come back. That's a part of this talk.
Well, but I do know you have kind of a rapid response team. So if there is an urgent situation with businesses, you're right there. But where are the physical locations the closest for Dickinson County if someone wanted to walk in
So
to a
Salina
building?
or Junction City?
Junction City
Yep.
still has theirs as
Yep,
Salina.
absolutely. Junction City is pretty much right in the middle of town. Salina, we moved from the old building downtown into the Central Mall. So we're right out in the Central Mall now. When we had that huge burst of cold weather about 5 or 6 years ago, our boiler went out in the building. It was going to cost $70,000 to fix it. Like, yep, this is our opportunity. So we moved out. But we're also very mobile. Like I said, if there are things happening in the community, we're happy to come set here. One of our biggest line items, honestly, is travel. We all travel to go in order to serve all those counties. We got to travel. Where I tell people my office is actually my car. So yeah.
I think one thing that sometimes people overlook on Kansas Works, for example, for job placement, but employers can put positions on there and there's not a charge on that. And sometimes when people go online and they start looking around and they'll find some place that helps with job placement, but there's strings attached to it.
Right.
And
yeah, we like to say, I'm not a fan of saying that our services are free because for 2 reasons. One, they're not free. It's tax paid. So we like to say it's prepaid. Anybody that pays taxes prepays for these services. Any employer that pays taxes prepays for our services. The other thing about free services, I don't know about you guys, if you get a free gift, it's usually not that great. So hopefully we have more value than the freebie.
but for someone out of work,
Absolutely.
there's not a placement fee that once
No,
they
not
land
at
the
all.
job, they have to go
Not
back
at
and
all.
pay you or
Right. Nope.
the
not at all.
company wouldn't have to pay you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not at all. Same when we go in to work with a business. We've done a lot of work with Russell Stovers. They've struggled to be able to keep employees or recruit employees. So we've done a lot of work to help them with that. But we don't charge for that. Again, it's just a part of the taxes that they pay. We don't have all the answers, but usually we can give some options that help with that. You know, bringing up Russell Stubert's, the work that they're doing with TCF is fantastic. And we've been able to help support that in some senses. It's giving a great opportunity to people who need an additional opportunity. Plus it's keeping an employer thriving as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things that we could.
So you had mentioned on the map that if you help one person or something, then but literally there'd be a higher expectation than that. And
Well-
so in Dixon County,
Absolutely.
so what would be a report on Dixon County? Are you
I can
talking
actually
hundreds
give you the
or?
report of exactly how many people we've served in Dixon County. I'd be happy to pull that and send that to you all. The reason we say the board has always said one, at least one, is the best example might be a county like Wichita County. They're out west. They have less than 800 people in the entire county. Where again, and we have other communities that have much more than that, and even much more than you know. So we also provide reports that kind of give an example to our county commissioners and our board that kind of show the share, if you will. So if we have a community that has, 300,000 people in it, they realistically should probably get a pretty good percentage of the people that serve them. But again, every county provides input into it. And one of the things that our boards never wanted to have happen is the only people that are served are the ones that live in the county where we happen to have an office. And having that tact, it would be difficult for Dixon County residents to get services. But our board has always said, go out, get out, be responsive, and outreach into those communities as well. And that's why they have the requirement. This is a report we have to provide every year to make sure that we're doing what they want us to
I'll
do.
build a little bit on the Dickinson County. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe you've been working with Troy Life a little bit on trying to get an apprenticeship program
Oh, absolutely.
going here in
Yeah,
Dickinson.
we would love to do that. Apprenticeship is the buzzword right now. You all working around government, there's always a buzzword. And the beautiful thing about apprenticeship, it's the one thing that both sides of the aisle and the federal government can agree on, is that apprenticeship is huge. We're working with the county, but we're also working with Russell Stover's anybody. We would talk to anybody about apprenticeship. We have a lot of resources to help
I
with that.
believe, I know Russell Stover's done it. I think KVK Inc. has also had
Yeah.
an apprentice go through,
Yeah.
so.
We work a lot with, what's their new name? I grew up knowing in the Solomon Court.
Oh,
Sunbelt.
Sunbelt.
Yes,
Sunbelt.
yes, there'll always be
Mhm.
Solomon
Solomon
in my
Court.
mind.
Yeah.
Get us welders, that's what we need is
Oh,
welders.
absolutely. I know, everybody
Is
does.
there an apprentice program for welders?
There can be. Any employer that wants to get
Yeah.
started with an apprenticeship, they can do that, absolutely. And
It's not just Sunbelt. I mean,
no, everybody.
everybody needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's that's pretty
And it
much
pays
across
well.
our whole area. Yeah. much better than it used to.
$60,000 or so.
Yeah, when I first started, it did not pay that well, but the wages have come up.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but it sounded like we were going to try to get even more positions. So for example, an administrative position or a clerical,
Oh,
position, anything.
absolutely. Yeah, no.
And the idea behind it is to retain the youth in the county.
Mhm. But the
I
other
can't remember the stat you guys gave, but if you retain
it's
this
the same.
much, you'll start growing again.
the loyalty that is tied that we can show, and it's really nationally, Kansas is a little behind the ball on apprenticeship. The loyalty that having an apprenticeship program brings to a business is huge. Because not only are you getting paid and all that, you're getting trained, and as you learn a new skill, you get an additional bump. It's not a lot, but it is a bump. And then you get certified at the end, and it's portable as well. So yeah, really, we would struggle to find a position that isn't apprenticeable. There are some that the training is very short term. So we have to have 2,000 hours of OJT, and we have to have a certain number of actual related technical instruction too. So that's That's the only time that we run into that, but yeah, it's.
If you're able to help businesses walk through that and
Absolutely.
guide them on how to do that right.
Absolutely.
So what services do you have? You mentioned the youth for, say, college kids or community college or VOTEC training. Are there some
Oh,
benefits that they can get to
Yes,
help them through
yes.
their
Let me
schooling,
point
either
you to the flyer.
financially or do you
Oh.
get computers too?
Absolutely. We're actually been very blessed. So there's a youth flyer in here as well. Not only do we do the OJT, but we pay a lot of people to go to school. And so we'll pay directly to Salina Area Tech, to South County, any of the schools where kids
So
choose.
that's going to be a private, not that Westland, Kansas Westland, for example, is in
so-
the catchment area and
That's a fantastic question.
Tabor, can they get some financial help?
Well, okay, so yes and no. The gist of our program is to get people back to work as quickly as possible, or get them into a job as quickly as possible. We do not do a lot of 3, 4, 5-year programs. We look closer to 2 years, or 2.5, 3 years because of prerequisites, things like that. But we have paid for people who, they had gone to school. I'm a great example of this. You go to school and you're like, oh, I got this great job. I don't need to finish. And then you're like at a point in your life where, you know what, I really kind of need to finish that. We have had opportunities because of layoffs where people are like, I was only a year out from being a school teacher, or I was only a year out from being and it would take them finishing their bachelor's degree that we have paid for in that instance. But that's not
Do you pay their tuition?
we pay their tuition, if they have
Do they have to
tools.
have dropped out, or is it someone that has to,
If
what if they're in their third year and they're going to go anyway?
we wouldn't do that. Yeah, our funds are for people who need help getting there in order to get a job or to improve their jobs, not somebody that's already there. We don't have enough funds to serve everybody that's in their junior year of college and are like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money.
Give them any computers or anything? Can they qualify for
Typically
that?
not if they're already in school. We do have a fantastic grant. We've had an opportunity to partner with United Healthcare. They gave us some funds to purchase laptops. So if somebody comes to us, they enroll, or they're all ready to go, and they're like, well, I don't have a laptop, but I have an online class. We're able to give them a laptop in that stance. Yeah. But we have to focus our funds, and our board drives this. We have to focus our funds on the jobs, on occupations that our communities need and need them now, and those that are available to really start moving towards that good job for those people as quickly as possible. And a four-year education isn't necessary in many opportunities to get people really good jobs. You brought up welding. We can put somebody in welding school or do an OJT or apprenticeship, and they're making good money very quickly. And the investment is short term, so then we're able to serve more people. Does that make sense?
It does. I think what it is there's probably families and students out there that are thinking, if they hear about it after the fact, like, oh, you could have done that 4 years ago, it really doesn't help them. But there are some,
Sure.
their education is interrupted because of financial
Absolutely.
considerations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And there's some that, like you mentioned, they're a semester short, or they're 6 hours short, or 9 hours.
Right.
And
Yeah, we
They
just
have
have
to
to
work.
prioritize our funds. We don't get enough funds to serve everybody, so we have to prioritize our funds to who the funder says we need to. And our funds come from the United States Department of Labor. So it's about getting people jobs.
and I was on the state board when I was there, so we were.
Yeah, it's about,
the whole group.
it's about that quickly, getting people jobs just as quickly as possible. And people who don't have jobs is our biggest priority. Our adult funds have a long list of priorities, and it's people who are not attached to school or work, maybe justice involved, have a disability. The list is long, on cash assistance, food stamps, things like that, to help get them into employment. So, when we start going down that line, that's where, we have to focus first. The examples I gave you where we paid for bachelor's degrees was somebody that was out working, everything was going well, and the rug got pulled out from them and they got laid off from their job. And as they come to us and we're working with them to figure out what's their next step, we find out that they're that close to getting their bachelor's degree and getting a job that's in demand, and we'll fund that. But primarily, especially in a laid off person, they don't have very long before they've got to get back to work, earning a wage and getting benefits. I mean, that's in benefits often is the biggest thing that people, especially that have been laid off, are most concerned about. So that's our job, is to get people a job just as quickly as possible with the limited resources that we have. Any other questions? So let me real quickly, and I don't know if I'm bumping up against time, but so the agreement does one of two things. The main reason for the agreement, we have an agreement with Dickinson County in place, but the main reason we're doing the new agreement is because of the change in us taking over another area and expanding our territory. So this agreement does two things. One, it does give you all the opportunity to appoint someone to set on our chief elected officials board. That board meets quarterly alongside our local workforce board. And we've discussed, like just in June, our board came together and approved our demand occupational list. And what that list says is those are the occupations that we need to focus our priority on. So you mentioned wealth, that's there. You mentioned production, nursing, healthcare, all of that is there. And that comes from our boards. And of course, the information that staff's able to provide. So, you know, that there is that opportunity. We're always welcoming of additional county commissioners that want to join the board to have a say and also oversight of what we're doing. The other side of it too is this is primarily our local workforce board is primarily made up of businesses. If you know a business that would be a fantastic representation of Dickinson County, please send that information to me. I'd be happy to reach out to them and tell them that you've encouraged them and get them on our board. That would be fantastic. The other side of this agreement is always reminding you that because the funds come into the state of Kansas on all counties' behalf, there is the potential for a financial responsibility. Not here asking money for Dickinson County, but if there would be ever an issue where we did not spend our money in the way that it's supposed to be and it was disallowed, there is the possibility it could come back on Dickinson County. So that's the other part of this agreement. I will tell you that's never happened, and we have lots of insurance policies that keep that from happening, but we are required to make sure all the counties understand that. So,
Okay.
but that's what the two purposes of the agreement is. Like I said before, though, the best reason for doing these agreements is to make sure that you all are aware of what we do and that we're here. And I love hearing that you're already aware of some of the things that we're doing here. So,
And Steve Gabar is
he's
on the
fantastic.
board, and he's from Dixon County.
Yeah, he's like the godfather of all things Workforce One. Absolutely, yeah. He's been around for forever. Took a hold of me as I was a baby in this world.
Sheldon said that. So.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm having a meeting with him tomorrow. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Well, thank you for the work he does.
Yeah.
Us too.
Oh, absolutely. Please do. I'm happy to do that. Any other questions or comments from me? Okay.
We're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Just let me know, and when you have the agreement, if you can send it back to me, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and Janelle again. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Too.
Hey, Lisa, Ron had some questions. You want to come on up and let Ron
I
have
actually asked her earlier, but I believe the executive board, I believe Harry Wiggins, former
Oh,
general with us from our county, is on the,
don't know if it's listed in the literature.
that one has the local board
Okay.
and the state board, and that's appointed by the governor.
Okay.
So
You
that's
said Steve DeBar sits on it for Dickinson?
well, yes.
Okay.
For,
And Steve's been on it for years.
he used to be with OCCK. And
Yes.
Okay.
Then he actually was worked with Governor Brownback
Well, okay.
and stayed on. And
Sorry, Lisa.
You're absolutely perfect. I'm just here to talk about dirt.
We're done.
Lisa, real quickly,
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about CRP. And I got a little bit of a note from Janelle from the information she sent out to us prior to the meeting so we can study what's going on with such a different situation. One was valuing CRP ground. And you had a question about it, you wanted to do some stuff about it, research or whatever about it. And I wanted to visit with you about CRP ground. And what are you thinking about doing with CRP?
I'm gonna go over that with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what the statutory requirements are of
Okay.
the appraiser's office. You guys want to share? Okay. And then what PDD requirements are of us as well.
Okay.
So I kind of put some, this was really fast because she just told me about this morning.
Yeah, I'll take full blame for that. So,
So, state statute 79-1476, which is one that covers so many things that appraisers do. For taxable years, I kind of highlighted A, that actually is the one that refers to CRP the most, of course. CRP is handled the same as a dry land due to the income produced from the government payments. And so that's what classifies it as a dry land. And this is really confusing. Dickinson County does not have any that we are aware of. PBD kind of tracks these new CRP grassland exemptions or CRP contracts, they're not exemptions. Starting in 2022, if you took out a CRP contract on grassland of a certain situation, then it stayed under that classification as grass, which we don't have any here currently. Every contract we have is still under the original, I'm going to say grandfathered in for lack of a better word, CRP contracts.
okay, so this last year,
Uh-huh.
the NRS office
Mhm.
come up with a deal where you could get CRP payments on your pasture land, and that's what they call grass.
Correct.
But the CRP land, where I beg to differ with you is,
Uh-huh.
its income potential is almost null, and here's why. I'll show an example of what I'm doing. I have some ground that's CRP
Uh-huh.
that was corn ground, and its average acreage producing was 118 bushels per acre,
Okay.
and we know that corn is pretty high.
Yes.
But the CRP payment from the government is $100 an acre. That's a really a lot lower.
Lower, yes.
Now, you're going to say, well, why would any fool do something like that? And the reason is a lot of that ground, it was highly erodible ground and needed to be taken out of production to help, and also to cut down the bushels and the major bushels coming in, because obviously when there's a great supply of a corn, the price will usually go down and hurt the other producers.
Yes.
So, but where that ties up into another situation is, and I've done this, so I'm guilty, the CRP ground turns into a recreation ground
Yeah.
to bring in other revenue.
Yes.
And then that comes up possibly for values for sale. And it goes just like the houses are here in Dickinson County. You have a house you're paying, for example, $200,000 for, and then you sell it, it's usually quite a bit more than 200,000. And that's what we're doing with the CRP ground. It's a recreation, but the value on it now to sell it is unbelievable.
So the market value would be unbelievable. The ag use value, which is what I do,
Okay,
doesn't change. I mean, and that I don't disagree with you. I see it, I know it, I understand that too. It's kind of like going back to that, the shooting land that we talked about
Hunting ground.
earlier this
Yeah.
year. And so it's kind of the same thing. We're looking at it as what its use is. I mean,
that's what it is. So,
but that's the bad thing is it's when I say use, it's the ag use value, not the market use value
Okay,
also.
yeah.
And so for our purposes is we're going to look at it. We send out, I think the second page that I sent you. So that's the statute that we have to follow. Okay. As of right now, I have not received a new CRP contract. That is for the grassland as of right now. Okay. So that first, the little questionnaire that has Dickinson County at the top, I just pulled one that we had received back. So once every 2 years, we are required by PBD requirements to send out a questionnaire and act. We have to re-inspect the parcel once every 6 years. So it's a little confusing, and it's kind of a little sometimes actually even upsetting to a taxpayer or to a landowner, because it's like, well, you were just out here. Well, I just received this 2 years ago. Nothing has changed, you know, and it is kind of cumbersome for them, but that is by statute, by compliance guidelines, what we have to do. And so this one that I gave you a copy of, this taxpayer was really nice. They filled out everything. So their CRP contract will be ending in 2025. And so what we will do in that case is we will change what is currently listed as dry land. That will now go back to grassland due to the fact that their CRP contract is not being renewed. So if they choose to renew it, they will notify us and it'll stay on or however, but I think they would have noted they were renewing it. That's typically what we get.
So this is the way you would, this form here is the way you would track it then?
Yeah.
Sending it to the producer,
Yeah.
he then sends it back and then you guys follow up.
Yes. So clear back in the the late 90s and the early 2000s, the FSA and RCS office, they were kind enough to send us reports and were kind enough to send us their slides. I mean, we could do our own review, never had a problem, never had to send out a questionnaire. That changed due to their own, their own rules, regulations, whatever. So they don't send us the information any longer. So it is literally upon us to send out the information. So our duties are, we send out the information. The taxpayer's duty is to return the information filled out accurately for our purposes. Do we get everybody to do that? We do not. All we can say is we attempted, and that's what we do. I mean, that's what our guidelines are, is you have to do this. So the first map that I brought up, that is actually from the FSA map. Like I said, this person was kind enough to return that. They're reporting a certain number of acreage. The second map that I brought up, that is from our GIS. And so when Ricky is working on his parcels, he's got different layers. And so the lighter green on here, that indicates the CRP land. And so he measures the CRP land based upon the polygons. The FSA map is based upon field boundaries. So that's why there is a difference in the number of acreages. And that's something that we get a lot of questions on also. And so we explain the reasons why we show one thing and the FSA shows something different. FSA doesn't take into consideration a lot of times the right of ways either. So the next one, the screen print, this is how PBD is. Did everything go? This is okay. This screen print is how PBD is asking us to now track the CRP land. And so it's a little more time consuming. It's okay. We put the note of when it expires. The date that we put it in is, I just put it in today's date, expired. And that way we have a way to track it. We can pull reports that way, quickly review the reports. If we need to change the use, we can. That is just kind of how the requirements have been coming up from PBD and what they're asking us to do. It's, like I said, a little time consuming.
Yeah.
The last one is just the PRC of the property that we were just talking about. That just shows you that it shows up that it is in the government program. It shows you how many acres of each soil unit, the values, and then the market value at the bottom, the other side there. So that is that quick little spiel on that.
I think the statutes haven't kept up, is the biggest thing.
Yes. And I mean, sometimes I agree with that. Sometimes I don't agree with that. It's something I don't have a control over. I just have to kind of do what's put on my desk and says, here you go. This is what you have to follow and do this year. And it changes yearly. So like I said, the one thing on the CRP, we have approximately 740 parcels currently that we have some type of CRP on. And so that's out of 5,867 aggregate parcels.
Okay.
So we don't have a large percentage, but there is a percentage. Let's see what else. Like I said, we have to send out something every 2 years. Something else that we're doing, and I might as well, I'm just gonna hit on it real fast as well, because I'm kind of I'm probably more involved in this little phase right now, is our irrigation permits. And so every year on irrigation, we get a large report from the state. We have to go through, check our acre feet per acre, make sure everything's adequate, make sure we haven't had any new permits opened, and just verify the report. And we have 94 irrigation permits that I'm working on, and I want to say about the same number of parcels. Of course, some of them cross over, they overlay different parcels and this and that. That we have to do yearly. So that's what we're in the process of right now.
That makes sense. Thank you so much. You answered my questions.
Okay, you guys have any other questions?
I do not. This one hits home for Ron a little bit more than me, but
Just
it's interesting.
producers around our area ask these things, and to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And anytime anyone has a question, please have them come in and talk.
Sure.
We get our information from them. A lot of times they'll come in and they'll do an appeal on ag land. Well, to be honest, our hands are kind of tied on value. However, it's not tied on use. And so if something has expired that we're not aware of, that they have not returned a questionnaire on, or, we haven't visited them in 5 years or so, things do expire. And so anytime, have them reach out, come in with me.
I think it's just a good reminder that if you do receive a salary or survey from the county, please fill it out and
Yes.
return it. It's to your benefit as well.
Yeah.
It is, and that is very, very accurate. If we don't know, I can go out and I can look at a CRP land, and to me, it looks like a regular piece of pasture. Some of them are fenced and some of them are not fenced. And so it really is just, the other thing we do, and I'm going to just hit on it real fast, is, I know I've said it before and I just want to say it again. So appreciate having Eagle View and pictometry for our aerial photography. It is the most amazing product. We use it, all of us use it daily. And so just let you guys know how much we appreciate having that function and that program.
Good deal. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
You bet. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Well, we'll take a break till 11.
Or someone, anyway, they could just write up an accusation, they don't like someone, and that's all it took.
We laugh at that, but it wasn't that long ago you could duel someone in this country legally over an argument, over a business dispute. You know what?
Yeah.
We're just gonna duel it out.
Well, yeah, the duels were more civilized.
No, I read about that today.
I mean,
It's like, can you imagine, a bad business deal, me and you, and then we're like, you know what? We're gonna settle this by killing one. One of us is gonna die.
yeah, or get out of town, get out of Dodge by night.
That was real though. They did that. That was the thing.
Well, and of course, that's the thing is, everybody thinks they're right. If you get in an argument,
Yeah. That one,
whether it's mediation or on the courts,
I wouldn't recommend doing that anymore.
No.
No, I don't think that's legal anymore.
Well, those dueling pistols, some of them were the old flintlock or whatever and
Ooh.
stuff, but I can remember not many years ago holding a black powder rifle for a guy. For a half an hour, I went home and got some more pieces to it because it might go off. So,
Wow.
anyway, yeah.
well, I knew of a situation over at Salina years ago. My grandfather used to tell me about it, and I looked it up. And this guy had gotten mad at someone and he bought guns. And there were some where where when you shoot it, it would rotate clockwise and some counterclockwise and whatever. This was the one that was unusual. And so he knew there was only a couple bullets in the chamber. And so he fired it at this person a couple times and all of a sudden it went off and it killed him.
Oh,
And so his defense was that he didn't. That's actually was a domestic dispute. He didn't think he was mixed up on what gun he was holding. So it really wasn't intentional. It was just to kind of tell him they meant business. And you know, they let him off.
Really?
I consider gun safe, but yeah. You start waving a gun around, I'm gonna take it.
Well, especially with kids.
Well, it's just, you know, hunter safety. They drilled that in your brain. You do not.
But you know, years ago,
weapon.
right, years ago, we all had gun cabinet and stuff. It's all in safes now, you know, you don't have that stuff.
You are talking.
When I was in high school,
Yeah.
I didn't have one, but the country kids had pickup trucks.
Yeah.
They'd have the gun rack in the back and
Yep.
they'd have the windows down on the truck and everything. But no rifles.
Solomon was, we still did that. Junior year. That's what we did. We would call everybody, right, and you guys.
Yeah.
He's from Salina.
But I have wavy.
Barb working team. You might
Yeah.
remember. And you guys that know we live in Solomon. Yeah, when you go to school.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. We're like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shoot. Everybody's going hunting.
Yeah, I didn't see some.
After football practice, right?
Everybody had guns in the back, yeah.
I think it was Dove's too.
Oh, that's-
Yeah, beginning of school.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
No. That's just one way of this flying.
Well, whatever happened to Alec Baldwin? Didn't he shoot someone on accident? Didn't
It
he
was
get
supposed to be loaded in.
guilty? That was at
Movie set. It's supposed to be a.
I don't know if he's found guilty yet, if the court hasn't.
well, I think he was found guilty once, then it got.
If it appealed, maybe that's
Or
what
something.
a prop gun and that. Don't point a weapon at anybody, whether it's
No.
loaded
That's
or
it.
unloaded.
That's what I was trying to get at. I don't know, it's so ingrained in my mind that I start going nuts when I see people doing that stuff.
Pretty rough stories out there. It was.
I'm gonna hang out. If you go hunting and you start doing that, you're never coming hunting with me again.
Oh,
Right.
Walk around with your safety off and.
Well,
Just to
and
bug the heck
you
out
know,
of me.
sometimes there's stories where like someone, they're either stepping over a fence or crawling over a fence and set the gun down and then
Right.
falls over and, you know.
Bam.
We had that happen here.
yeah.
It happens.
Or just walking with a group of people like bird hunting. It's so easy. Some of those folks don't know and they.
They right over the cross.
Yeah.
Probably
Yep.
shouldn't see-
Pelleted before.
I have no reason why.
Usually that's a good way to.
That's great.
Good way to.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh.
Since they can subscribe.
listen to my
publish
dad.
to- Because even if you publish it in another paper, it doesn't mean they're getting.
Right.
So what's the difference?
You know, the crazy thing is,
Vote reaction.
Okay.
I go up to the,
his doctor, his wife had to read lots of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See ya.
So she was as smart as.
you need anything?
Nope, good. Thank you.
Okay.
Read it too.
And I always remember
Yeah, still the home
I
county.
mean, my inventory. Come back at.
sweater on.
It might be like, no,
Our county council.
And my parents had told me,
it's just me, it's,
why?
doesn't matter what it is, and this is- and they're not getting it into.
So it's told. And he'd ask people, well, what do they look like? They
Or sling drones.
kind of low
I can't
gain.
imagine though,
He's
being
got
able to
40,000
see and go.
subscribers, that's 3,000.
Oh,
I just feel like that would be horrible torture and stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be horrible.
And the counties are,
Yeah.
Just, yeah, that's one of my big things, blind or deaf or something. You know, that's,
I figured they would say, no, you don't have a Nixon County, you can't have a paper.
but he made it. For time. Call this meeting to order, if we'd all rise for flag salute.
We're unmuted and everything.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Move on to approve the agenda. We have somewhat of a long one today. Commissioners, we have Kansas Workforce One Local Workforce Development Board Agreement on the chief elected official board. Sorry. We have some updates to the employee handbook policies. I would like to try to pass these all together unless you guys want to do it individually. We sure can. Also, we would vote to approve and sign letter to the Riley County Health Department regarding child care license funding requests as discussed in the 2 previous work sessions. Consider health insurance broker proposals and acceptance of one, and accept resignation of Lyle Woods as the Holland Township trustee. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any more additions to the agenda or changes or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving down to the consent agenda. The minutes are provided for you for the July 24th meeting in your packets. Payroll this week of $419,231.09. It looks like we have a discrepancy there. Second payroll. I'm going to guess that's the wire.
Yes.
The wire of $3,771.25. An EMS bond of $3,787.50. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving down to commissioner comments and committee reports. Lynn, why don't we start with you this week?
Didn't really have anything going on as far as meetings, but no, it's fair week here and we've kind of gotten a nice little break in the weather, which makes it more enjoyable and probably a little easier on the kids and the people and the livestock out there. So anyway, enjoy the fair.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lynn. Ron?
I don't have anything today.
Okay. I'll just kind of ditto Lynn's report. I was at the rodeo yesterday. I was not there 2 days ago, luckily, but it was
You weren't
beautiful.
in it.
I wasn't. No, I guess I was in the parade.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was in the parade. It's a great time. Please come out. It's a great fair. There's some good food floating around there too, and 4-H animals to go look at with your kids. There's a lot to do. So I encourage you to come out. In addition to that, I will be going to a North Central Regional Planning Commission meeting today at 1 o'clock. And I will also be attending the Greg Wilson swearing in ceremony tomorrow at 10 a.m. I didn't know if you guys will be
I
there.
was invited to that, so I may attend if my schedule allows. So you maybe want to put that on the websites.
Ron, do you plan?
I don't plan to do that.
Was that
There
That'll be at Greg
at
Wilson.
Wilson Farms there. And Judge Sexton is the one that's doing the swearing in ceremony.
We'll make sure that
From
gets.
what they,
If you want to give that notice, I believe it is open to the public.
Okay.
That is all I have for my report today. Moving on, we don't see any petitions or proclamations. We'll give a brief period for public comment if County Administrator John Dockendorf will read the rules first.
For the Open Meetings Act, KSA 75-4317 and 75-4318A, as the elected board, the county commission is not allowed to meet or make any decisions without posting the meeting. They are only allowed to act on items on the agenda which they set. During their regular meeting, the county commission may allow for public comments on items not listed on the approved agenda. It is at the discretion of the county commission if they allow comments on agenda items. If you wish to provide comments, please come forward to the podium and state your name and address. If you are online, raise your hand and we will unmute you. Please state your name and address. Each person may speak for 3 minutes. The allotted time will start after the speaker has given his or her name and address. Public comment shall be addressed to the county commission only and not to the speaker or the audience. Only the county commission will be permitted to ask the speaker questions. The public comment period is not a back and forth discussion with the county commission. You should make your views and input known to them, but it is not a time to ask them questions. You should not expect them to respond to your comments. Comments may express support or agreement with the previous speakers, but in the interest of time, please do not repeat the same information. You may state something to the effect of your name and address and you agree with the previous speaker. It is important to maintain a respectful, non-threatening atmosphere for anyone who would like to speak. Please do not engage in such actions as cheering, booing, clapping, insults, threats, etc.
Thank you, Janelle. Give it a few moments for a public comment. Do not believe we have any public comments, or I'm not seeing any. We'll go ahead and move on to, or actually, I will make one public comment. On 1400 Avenue, County Administrator Janelle Dockendorf let me know that, remind me, what was the original bid to overlay that?
2.121, and it came in at 2004.
So we came in about 120 grand less on the Fair Road overlay project. So I thought that was a good announcement to give out there.
Yes.
All right, we'll go ahead and move on. County Administrator Janelle Dockendorf, would you provide your report?
Commissioners, the Public Works Department is moving to Key Road, and they'll start chip sealing there on Monday. They've completed, in the 1300 block, they've completed, let's see, Fair and Rain and Union. They are working on D Street in Harrington currently, and then they'll move to Key and should be wrapping up the summer overlay projects. Then they'll get back to overlaying, or excuse me, shouldering. They're trying to shoulder where they can. So, but it looks really good what they have done. So kudos to our crew. The Vance brothers have completed the microsurfacing on Fair Road. That was a 2-mile stretch at Old 40 heading north on Fair. And if you have an opportunity to take a look at that, it's a new product that we're testing out. It's been used in the city of Salina, and then in Marion County, they used it in another area. So we're hoping that maybe this is a product that we could put down. It's a little bit thicker layer of oil that help us extend the road, the life expectancy on the roads for longer. So maybe save us a little money and time at some point, we hope. So the new emergency communications director will start on August the 4th. So we're excited, and I'll have Amber come up and meet you when the time is appropriate. As Lisa reported during the study session, she's reviewing the yearly audit reports from PBD, which includes the CRP. So, and I think she provided a pretty thorough explanation of what that looks like. As you mentioned, the fair is going on, and we do have several staff that are involved in that: emergency management, EMS, and the sheriff's department. The planning and zoning director just wants to remind everyone that building permits are required in the county if you're going to build. We do have an online feature that they can go online and create an account, log in, fill out the application, then it funnels to the appropriate departments if you need to have a culvert installed or you need to have a water or septic system inspected. So it funnels to those departments too. And we are progressing on the 800 communication systems. We had a call yesterday. The installation of the antennas and the shelter and the towers are moving forward. So the middle of next month, we'll see some progress on the tower here in Abilene. And then towards the end of the month into September, we'll see progress on the tower at the Harrington site as well. So we'll have to install a shelter there. So, but it's moving quicker now. So it's been a long time coming, but we're excited that it's moving forward. So any questions for me?
I do not. I don't believe County Councilor Doug Thompson is here today.
He went up to court.
He went up to court. We do have some notices and communications. From now on, we're going to have our county clerk give our notices and communications.
Okay, we received a notice that the Central Kansas Mental Health Center will be having a community mental health town hall on Monday, August 4th at 5:30 p.m. at 800 Elmhurst Boulevard in Salina. Also, on June 20th, 2025, the Purdue Pharmacy filed for bankruptcy. The revenue neutral rate notices from my office went out Tuesday, July 29th. And an update on election would be that we have sent out 59 advanced by mail ballots and 20 have returned, and we've had 184 early voters.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time they can come in and vote here
Be next
in
Monday by
advance.
noon.
Okay.
That's the deadline for it. And then they'll have election day to do, if they come in.
Monday by noon.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope. I'm good. Thank you.
We'll move on to some other business. The first thing to consider is the Kansas Workforce One Local Workforce Development Board Chief Elected Official Board Agreement.
It's in the signed, well, there it is right there.
We talked about this earlier, guys. What do we want to say about this? We're a part of this.
It's an update to the agreement that's currently in place. It's been in place for a good number of years, but they changed the structure of the area. They've merged, and it is now 79 counties that are represented by our local area. So they're updating that, and they were also updating the, yeah, let me find my note.
So it's a federally funded program that is through the state of Kansas. And then the state of Kansas has workforce areas. And so we are, as you mentioned, part of the
Yes.
workforce one board. And Steve Gabar is on that board, but they try to have representatives in every county, but then also they have outreach for businesses and workforce development.
Right.
Essentially, this is just a new agreement because of the new intake of new counties.
Correct.
Comes our new agreement. I don't think we have any plans to change who we have from Dickinson County representing us. And as Lynn mentioned, Steve Gabar is our representative on there right now. I'd say with that considered,
I'd move we go ahead and sign the necessary paperwork to facilitate this being part of the local area one board.
I'll second that motion. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving down to the update of the employee handbook policies as we were provided. We talked about this in the work session. We went over a few details within it. I think we were all pretty comfortable with the changes that we were going to make. It's to get us a little bit more, just to kind of briefly give an overview, get us a little bit more in line with the new pay plan and how that's going to be implemented and how that will. Just that. Is there any other questions or discussion we wanted to have before we'd move to adopt these new policies? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the new regulation there.
Okay, I'm gonna add to that. So could you add to that we would accept the salary? Do we need to list all these out?
To be safe, go ahead and list them in the, yeah.
Okay. So in that motion, we would be approving policy 207, salary and admin, 312, jury duty, 315, health insurance, 317, employee assistance program, and 615, post resignation policy. That would be the motion. Do I have a
And
second?
some of these were already in our employee handbook in one form or another, but it's just making changes on the language to make sure it's in compliance with everything we need to have.
Clarifying language or removing outdated information in that and making sure that it mirrors our compensation policy as well, which is the gist of the changes.
I'll go ahead and second that motion. Do we have any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. There's a lot in there. I didn't know if we wanted to contact you. Okay.
And people can go on the website and see this, or they just need to, or then it's distributed to the employees.
It's distributed to the employees, yes. They'll be notified of the updates to the employee handbook, so.
Okay. We'll have the next order of business is to approve and sign the letter for Riley County Health Department regarding the child care license funding request. We've talked about this in both this work session and last week's work session. Essentially, there's a program for the licensing of childcare that is provided by the state. The state at one point decided to reach out to counties to see if they would facilitate that service. Riley County stepped up for, I believe it's Riley, Geary, Dickinson, and Pottawatomie. And they administer that for us right now. But since it is a state program, we have decided to deny their funding request and request that they reach back out to the state and their representatives. And same likewise with our board as well. So that is kind of the background of what this would be approving. Any discussion on that matter? We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve and sign the Riley County Health Department regarding childcare licensing and funding request.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. But I guess yeah. Yeah, I think
I think everything else is signed.
everything else is just general stuff, yeah. Okay. Next order of business is to consider the health insurance broker proposals as provided. We have 3 companies. Janelle, why don't you briefly talk about this?
Commissioners, over the past month, you've heard from 3 different vendors with regards to health insurance broker that would work on behalf of the county to go out to market for our health insurance for fiscal year 2026. And they provided a lot of good information for us. It sounds like that all of the companies would be, they're well versed in their jobs, which we appreciate. And they also look out for the county and strategic planning and forward thinking. They're all very versed in looking at cost savings for us. So the 3 companies that we listen to or considered are Bukaty, Gallagher, and USI. Bukaty currently is our health insurance broker, and they have been for the past 2 years. And we moved off of the state plan 2 years ago, and right away we did receive $230,000 in savings, which was huge for the county. That's the one thing that we wanted to consider. We were looking at moving off the state plan where we could realize savings because those costs continue to rise. They are proposing a cost of $30 per employee per month or $38,160 annually. And that's an estimated 106 employees, which is what we currently have on our health insurance plan. That includes the filing of the 195s BC, the compliance support that's needed, the employee navigator. It also will help with the negotiations in the upcoming year. Gallagher is the next firm that we also visited with. Their proposal is $33.80 per employee per month, or a total of $43,000 annually for those same 106 estimated employees. There also would be a fee of $8,500 for the first year for the benefits administration program, and then $6,000 annually. And then USI is proposing $39 per employee per month. So that's a total of $49,608. All firms are equally qualified for what we're requesting. So our recommendation is to continue with Bukaty, and also consider asking them if they would be willing to sign a 2-year agreement with us to continue this on, with the thought that they can help with the negotiations with that and gives us time to do some future planning for the self-funding of our health insurance. So,
Thank you.
And this would be approved on the basis of the current contract. So the part about if they would extend it for a second year or put something on it, I mean, that's just kind of a follow-up.
right.
But really not part of this. I mean, other than, I like the idea that we have that opportunity to hold the costs for the next year.
Right.
If they'll agree to it.
So commissioners, do we want to motion to accept Bukaty's proposal and award them our health insurance broker?
I think we should. I mean, just to follow up before I make the motion, but the timeliness of doing this is important because
They're getting ready.
to have to negotiate the insurance for next year.
Right. And they'll be going out to market here pretty quickly. So
I would go ahead and make the motion that we accept the proposal from Bukaty on our health insurance brokerage.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
And I was going to mention,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but I mean, that's okay. And Janelle covered it, but just to emphasize that was the low bid because we did have the benefit of 3 proposals.
Correct. That's a good point. Okay, next order of business is this one's pretty straightforward. Accept the resignation from Lyle Woods as Holland Township trustee. He wrote us a pretty brief resignation letter. Says he resigned.
That's usually what they
Okay.
just to the point. So I think I would move that we go ahead and accept that resignation.
Second it.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
The next step.
Just a follow-up.
Yeah, what's,
So usually they will recommend someone from Holland and say, okay, this is where we
Yes.
agreed to accept it, but we don't,
Appoint
we
somebody.
do not have a name at this time.
You know, and they'll submit a letter with the name and asking the commission to appoint.
But usually that's within a week or two.
And I believe that they're working on that and have somebody in mind. They just have not officially
Okay,
provided it.
Sometimes it takes time.
sure.
They have problem.
well, with that,
Vote? Yes,
yes, we all vote.
Unanimous.
yes.
Any other business for today, commissioners? Discussion?
I have none.
Seeing as there's no more business or discussions, I would motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We are adjourned.